सदाशिवसमारम्भां
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So I'll request Tanmay ji to chant verse number 13 to verse number 20.
Om Acharya.
Om.
Pancha prana mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam
Pancha prana mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam
apanchikrita bhutotham sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam
apanchikrita bhutam sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam
anadya vidya nirvachya कारणोपाधिरुच्यते
अनाद्या निर्वाच्य कारणोपाधिरुच्यते
उपाधित्रेतयादन्यम् आत्मानम् अवधारयेत्
उपाधित्रेतयादन्यम् आत्मानम् अवधारयेत्
पञ्चकोशादियोगेन तत्तन्मय इव स्थितः
पञ्चकोशादियोगेन तत्तन्मय इव स्थितः
शुद्धात्मा नीलवस्त्रादि योगेन स्फटिको यथा
शुद्धात्मा नीलवस्त्रादि योगेन स्फटिको यथा
वपुस्तुषादिभिः कोशैः युक्तं युक्त्यावघाततः
वपुस्तुषादिभिः कोशैः
आत्मनं मन्तरं शुद्धं विविच्यात्तण्डुलं यथा
आत्मनामन्तरं शुद्धं विविच्यात्तण्डुलं यथा
सदा सर्वगतोऽप्यात्मा न सर्वत्रावभासते
सदा सर्वगतोऽप्यात्मा न सर्वत्रावभासते
बुद्धावेवावभासेत स्वच्छेषु प्रतिबिम्बवत् देहेन्द्रियमनोबुद्धि प्रकृतिभ्यो विलक्षणम् तद्वृत्ति साक्षिणं विद्या आत्मानं प्राजवत् सदा
साक्षिणं विद्या आत्मानं प्राजवत् सदा
व्यापृतेष्विन्द्रियेष्वात्मा व्यापारी वा विवेकिनाम्
व्यापृतेष्विन्द्रियेष्वात्मा व्यापारी अविवेकिनाम्
दृश्यते भ्रेषु धावत्सु धावन्निव यथा शशी
दृश्यते भ्रेषु धावतो धावन्निव यथा शशी
आत्मचैतन्यमाश्रित्य देहेन्द्रियमनोधियः
आत्मचैतन्यमाश्रित्य देहेन्द्रियमनोदिधियः
स्वक्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्ते सूर्यालोकं यथा जनाः
स्वक्रियासु वर्तन्ते सूर्यालोकं यथा जनाः
Acharya, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, Acharya.
Okay, so we are on the 13th verse now. So it is Pancha Prana Mano Buddhi Dashe Indriya Samanvitam Api Krancha Bhutotham Sukshmangam Bhoga Sadhanam. So from now on, we are on familiar ground. This is all already covered in Tattva Bodha, so I'm going to go a bit quickly on it. So Pancha Prana Mano Buddhi. So that is the 5 pranas, Pancha Pranaha, Manaha, mind, Buddhi, intellect, and Dasendriyaha. So the 10 Indriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Jnanendriyas, forming a total of 17 elements, which we did in Tattva Bodha also, right? These are 17 elements. What are they part of?
Sukshma Sharira.
Sukshma Sharira. So Samanvitam, combined. And what are they made up of? Bhutotham. Bhutotham made up of the 5 of the elements. So 5 elements understood, Panchabhuta understood. But Bhuta means elements, Bhutotham made up of the 5 elements. What kind of 5 elements? Apanchikritaha. Apanchikritaha, before Panchikritam, which means Sukshma Panchamahabhutani. And that is why, because it is made from the Sukshma Panchamahabhutani, it is a Sukshma Angaha, Sukshma Angaha. Sukshma Angaha, the subtle Anga. Anga here represents the Shariram, the body, not the part. So Sukshma Angaha, subtle body. Or you can think of it Sukshma Anga of the entire Jiva. So that Jiva consisting of what all things? Jiva consists of what all things?
So, Raviji,
Hanji,
may I ask?
please.
It consists of the 3 bodies, gross, subtle, causal, plus the OC.
Plus the OC. So out of those 4 pieces, if you can think of those 4 as Anga, then you can justify the use of the phrase Anga also here. Sukshma Angaha. The subtle part of the Jiva. And what is that? Bhoga Sadhanam. It is the instrument of Bhoga, instrument of experiencing the pleasures and pains which you all experience. So remember in Tattva Bodha, Shankaracharya talked about the same thing, but it was all in prose form. So here it is all in a meter form, in the poetry form. So 17 organs, they make up the body, subtle body. And this is the Bhoga Sadhanam, the instrument of experience. So the same terms were used in Tattva Bodha also. Bhoga Sadhanam was the experience of instrument. What was the term used for the residence that the instrument take up?
Bhogayatanam.
Bhoga
Ayatanam.
Ayatanam. Ayatanam is the residence. Okay. So the residence where the 17 organs are, that is the Ayatanam. And the instrument is this one. Bhoga. Ayatanam is 1. and sadhanam is one. So bhoga sadhanam is the instrument. And who experiences all these things? Sukshma Shariram. So that is to be understood here. The experience is not for subtle body. Subtle body is only the instrument of the experience. The experience is for us. The gross body is only the instrument of the experience. The subtle body is the experiencer here, the jiva. So whenever, and you have to take it one step further. If you are saying that my hand is hurt, then you are transferring the experience of the gross body to yourself. You can think of it as Sukshma Shariram also. But if you are saying that I am unhappy, then you are transferring the unhappiness of the subtle body to yourself, the Atma. And therefore both the Sthula Shariram and the Sukshma Shariram, both are upadhis. That is clear over here. The Sukshma Pancha Mahabhutani are the upadana karanam for Sukshma Shariram. The Sthula Pancha Mahabhutani are upadana karanam for the gross body, Sthula Shariram. What is the Nimitta karanam for both?
Prarabdha.
And Prarabdha is correct. And
The karma, Brahman.
Karan Sharira.
Prarabdha is the Samanya, the Vishesha Karanam. Okay. The Samanya Karanam is the 5 elements. There is a Samanya Karanam, there is a Vishesha Karanam. What else is there?
Brahman.
Brahman is Akarta. But you're
Saguna
close. Saguna Brahman, which is, what is the other name for Saguna Brahman?
Maya,
Maya.
the Brahman.
Saguna Brahman is not Maya. Maya with something.
Ishwar.
Ishvara. So you should not forget these things. Saguna Brahman is Ishvara. Maya Sahita Brahman is Ishvara. That is Saguna Brahman. The Nimitta Karanam is not just Prarabdha Karma. Nimitta Karanam is also Ishvara. Okay. Right. Then we look at verse number 14. So Anadhi Vidya Anirvachya. So that word has to be broken correctly. Anadhi Vidya Anirvachya Karana Upadhi Uchyate. You have to break it up completely. Karanaha Upadhi Uchyate. Upadhi Tritaya Anyat Atmanam Avadharayet. Those are the breakups. Anadhi Vidya Anirvachya Karana Upadhi Uchyate. Upadhi Tritayat Anyam Atmanam Avadharayet. Pankaj Kumar ji, your mic is on. Please put it off. Okay. So Anadi Avidya and Anirvachya. 2-3 words. What are they? Uchyate. They are called Karana Upadhi. So Anadi Avidya Anirvachya Karana Upadhi Uchyate and Atmanam Upadhi Tritiyat Anyam. You can understand? He is talking about 2 things. He is Anadi Avidya, which is Anirvachya. Karana Upadhi Uchyate is called the Karana Upadhi, Karana Shariram. Atmanam Avadharayet. Avadharayet, you should understand that Atma, Upadhi Tritiyat Anyam, is different from Anyam, is different from Upadhi Tritiyat, from the 3 Upadhis. So Avidya, Anadi Avidya, what is another name for it?
Maya.
Maya. What is another name for it? Apart from Maya?
Karana Sharira.
Okay, Karana Shariram. And one more name, more generic in nature?
Prakriti.
Mula Vidya.
Mula Vidya.
Mula Vidya.
Prakriti, Mula Vidya, Avidya, Maya, all these are the same thing. Okay. And what is Mula Vidya's responsibility? It is responsible for the projection, the Vikshepa Shakti, the projection of the Sthula Shariram and the Sukshma Shariram. Therefore, this Karna Shariram is also called Mula Vidya, also called Maya. It has got two Shaktis, Vikshepa Shakti and Avarna Shakti. And Mula Vidya, you must remember, it is nothing but the Sukshma Shariram in the Bija Avastha, in the seed state. That is why Karanam. And we have to very carefully understand what is the difference between Mula Vidya from Avidya. So Mula Vidya, you have to remember, is broken into Mula Avidya, the primary Avidya. And the normal Avidya is different. So what is the definition of normal Avidya? What is normal Avidya? What does Avidya term stand for?
Ignorance.
Without with
Jnanam.
or wrong.
No, I mean, just saying ignorance in translation. What does it stand for?
Not having the knowledge.
The veiling of the self.
You have to learn to make complete sentences in answering. Okay. This little by little, no use. What is a complete answer for what is Avidya?
Ignorance of your true nature.
Sense of
As
knowledge.
Brahman.
Ignorance of true nature is one answer. And if you want to specify that, if you want to expand on that, what will you say?
Ignorance of your true nature as Brahman,
Okay.
and thinking you're associating with the mind body.
1 second, just hold on, just hang on. I'll send you the link.
This is last password is 13th November. And it's Atma Bodha Group.
Atma Bodha Group. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Where was I? Okay, so
Mula Vidya. Primary
Vidya.
Avidya.
the primary Avidya, it stands for a confusion. So confusion between what and what?
Who I am and who I think I am.
Satyam and Mithya.
Satyam and Mithya. So avidya means basically the confusion between Satyam and Mithya. That has to be understood as plain old avidya. Okay, which is what we call ignorance, which is called ajnanam. Mula Vidya is something completely different. Mula Vidya is the bija avastha, the seed state of the mind, which is the very cause of the mind, which is also called Prakriti. Okay, the subtle Prakriti. The normal confusion avidya has a technical name, which you should remember. When we talk about Mula Vidya, the technical name for the other one, the confusion between Satyam and Mithya, that has got another name, Tula Vidya. It's a ta. So one is Mula Vidya, one is Tula Vidya. So whenever we say Tula Vidya, it means the confusion between Satyam and Mithya, the confusion between who I am, confusion about who I really am. So after you become Jivan Mukta, which of the Vidyas will you retain? Which of these two Vidyas will you retain after becoming Jivan Mukta? Will you lose both, or will you keep both, or will only one be there?
Mula Vidya.
Mula Vidya will
both
remain.
both will be gone.
Okay, somebody said both will be gone. That's one answer. Anybody else?
Raviji, may
Yes.
I do that?
Please, please.
Only one will be remaining. The causal thing will still remain.
Exactly. Because if Mula Vidya goes away, along with Mula Vidya, what goes away?
Sharira.
The Shariram, body goes away, right? We said the Mula Vidya is the very bija avastha for Shariram, for Sukshma Shariram. And so Mula Vidya essentially is the very seed for your Shariram. Then if that goes away only during Videha Mukti. Okay, so the Tula Vidya, which you can think of as Avarna Shakti, is destroyed at Jivan Mukti. But Mula Vidya, which is the very seed, the very reason why your physical body exists, why your subtle body exists, which is what? Which is a Karna Shariram. And that will get destroyed only during Videha Mukti. Right? So Karna Shariram is the very cause of the creation. That we must remember. And unless there is Jivan Mukti and followed by Videha Mukti, Karna Shariram cannot be destroyed. Even during pralayam, this Mula Vidya, this Karana Shariram does not get destroyed. It's only during Videha Mukti, which means Jivan Mukti first, followed by death of the body. It is only then that the Karana Shariram is destroyed. So Mula Vidya gets destroyed only after Jivan Mukti and after Jivan Mukti followed by Videha Mukti. Okay. And remember here, whenever we say Karana Shariram, we are using at the microcosm level. We are using in the Vyashti context. That same idea, if you want to use in the Samashti context, what do you use? You use the word Maya. Okay. Then you might say, how does, that's a possible question, how does the Mula Vidya, the Karana Shariram, how does it become an Upadhi? Right? Anybody would like to answer that? How does the Karana Shariram become an Upadhi? Because what is a Upadhi? What is the definition of Upadhi? What are the three conditions necessary for Upadhi? You can remember the opening classes of Atmabodha.
Proximity,
Proximity,
false transfer of an attribute and a false transfer.
proximity, transfer of attribute and false transfer.
Attribute and false transfer.
Okay. So now, Sukshma Shariram, it is easy to understand what I transfer. I transfer the birth and the death. I transfer the size, the height, the weight all to myself, and therefore it is Upadhi. Sukshma Shariram, what do I transfer?
Subconscious memories, emotions.
Emotions, your unhappiness, happiness, all belonging to Sukshma Shariram, I transfer. So these two, it's easy to understand that there is a transference and therefore it is an Upadhi. But so in Karana Avastha, Karana Shariram, what do you transfer?
The karma you transfer and
No. Think, in Karana Shariram, what exactly do you transfer? When are you
Avarana Shakti.
when is the Karana Shariram manifest?
In deep sleep.
Sushupti Avastha, right? So in Sushupti Avastha, what do you transfer?
The Sukham state and Ajnanam both.
Yeah. So when you wake up, what happens is you say that I was not aware of anything, right? And you say that I slept like a log. So that inactivity belongs to whom? Atma or Karana Shariram?
Karan Shariram.
That inactivity belongs to Karana Shariram. And therefore that Ajnanam, that knowledge of not having any knowledge of what was happening belongs to Karana Shariram. And therefore when you get up, you say that I had a very good sleep and I had no experience at all. All that is the activity and inactivity of the Karana Shariram. When you say I slept like a log, that inactivity of the Shariram, you are transferring on to Atman. So that is why Karana Shariram is Upadhi. When you say I did not know anything, that Ajnanic state of the Karana Shariram, you are transferring on to Atman. Therefore it is Upadhi. Right? The difference is that when the Ajnani says that I was not doing anything, that is a Akarta status, that I did not do anything. Correct? When the Ajnani says that Akarta status is borrowed from Karana Shariram. It's a borrowed sentence, borrowed idea. But when the Ajnani says that I am a Karta, where does he borrow it? Where does the statement come from?
RC, ego.
When, as a Jnani, I say, Aham a Karta. Am I borrowing something? What am I borrowing if I'm borrowing? And if I'm not borrowing, then what is the correct way to do, describe that? Okay, so when the Jnani says Aham Akarta, it is simply a statement of fact. That is not borrowed from anywhere. It's an expression of the fact that my own nature is Akarta. Okay, there's no borrowal there. It's an expression of his very Swarupam. Can you remember the verse in the Gita which expresses this? 4th chapter. TTC people should remember. Very potent verse which you are all struggled with. Come on, guys.
Raviji, I am not able to quote that, but there is something to do with action and inaction, the two being.
Excellent. That is karmani akarmiya pasyet akarmani cha karmayaha. Was the 18th or the 14th or the 4th chapter. Should never forget that. That is here relating to this. When the Jnani says, I'm not doing anything, I cannot do anything, it's not borrowed. It's his very nature, very Swarupam. While the person who gets some Sushupti when he says it, it is borrowed from Karna Shariram. Both say that, make the same statement. But one is borrowed from Karna Shariram, one is the expression of his own nature. Okay. Then verse number 15. So we look at verse number 15. So Pancha Koshadi Yogena Tat Tanmaya Ivasthitaha Shuddhatma Nila Vastradi Yogena Sphatiko Yatha. Okay. Okay. So in the previous verse, we use the Sharira Trayam Prakriya. The methodology of analysis is called Prakriya. So that is Sharira Trayam, 3 bodies. Now here a different Prakriya is being used, Panchakosha. Okay. So the previous division of Sharira Trayam is, the division is according to the order of grossness. The Sthula Shariram being the most gross, the subtle body being a little less gross, and Karna Shariram being the least gross. So that order is in the order of being gross. Panchakosha, when you say, it is not in the order of being gross. The classification is based upon what for Panchakosha? What is the Panchakosha classification based on?
Functionality.
On the functions of the body.
Functionality of the body. Okay, so it is based on the functions only. Shankara, of course, doesn't enumerate here because he assumes that, as I said, Atma Bodha is an advanced text, so he doesn't enumerate the 5. He just says Panchakosha. So we should remember Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. What is the job of the Annamaya Kosha? It is to absorb the Annam, and by absorbing the Annam, that nutrition which it absorbs, it keeps the gross body and the subtle body intact. That is the job of the Annamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha is the functional system. What is its function? Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. Okay. Do you remember what the 5-fold functions are? Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. What are they in English? Prana is
The respiratory
Force,
respiration. Apana is
excretion,
excretion, evacuation. Vyana is
circulation,
circulation. Udana is
Emergency system.
no.
Speech.
Udana is emergency, and Samana is digestion. So Udana is emergency. It can, it can sort of bring forth something that entered your body which should not have entered. It can, like vomiting, sneezing, all this is Udana function. Samana function is digestion. Okay. Udana also has one final function. What is that? It ejects a lot of things. What does it eject?
At the time of death.
At the time of death, what does it reject?
Subtle body.
Sukshma Sharira.
Yeah. So the entire subtle body is thrown out using Udana. Okay. So that is the Pranamaya function. Manomaya Kosha, of course, is the emotional function. Vijnanamaya Kosha is judging, thinking, logic, all these things. What is the job of the Anandamaya Kosha? What is the main expression of Anandamaya Kosha?
Bliss.
Bliss. Pleasure.
The blissful check.
Bliss. It is of the nature of Karana Sharira.
Yeah.
That
It
is
represents.
that is a different name. Anandamaya Kosha means
Yeah.
Karana Sharira, means Mula Vidya. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, what does it do? What is the main function? Does it have a function at all?
Yes.
What is that function?
Creating happiness, bliss.
Well, I'll grant you that. Okay, but
Hello,
what is the primary function?
Raviji, may I try?
Please, Nataraj.
I think the main function of the causal body is to put your karmic account in place as per your vasanas.
Okay.
These are the two main functions of the causal body.
Does it have a daily function?
Yes, in deep sleep,
You're getting there.
you lose the sense of being your own three physical body, three gross, subtle, and causal body.
Okay. I'll give that to you. Anandamaya Kosha also has primary function of making you sleep. If Anandamaya Kosha was not there, the mind would not resolve into Karma Shariram, which is Anandamaya Kosha. You would not sleep at all. It is only when the mind resolves in that you go into deep sleep. So Shupti Avastha. Okay. So it has a very major function, which is getting you sleep. And as I said before, all the koshas are called upadhis because all the functions of the koshas are transferred onto me, the Atma, and taken as my function of the Atma. Okay. Now comes the word Panchakoshadi Yogena. So here the word Yogena, yoga has a particular context. Yoga just means connection due to ignorance. So Ajnana Krita Sambandham. Connection born out of ignorance. So Panchakoshadi Yogena means the translation should be having taken the Panchakosha to be myself because of the ignorance born, or the connection born out of ignorance. Right? That is the Panchakoshadi Yogena, Panchakoshadi Ajnana Krita Sambandhena. That connection with the Panchakoshas is born out of ignorance. And what does the connection do? It takes me, the Asanga Atma, it superimposes upon me all the individual functions of the Panchakoshas. And therefore, I say I am happy, I am unhappy, I am tall, I am short, I am all these things I say. I sleep. All this is the superimpositions only. So what am I really? I am Satyam. So Shariram Upadhi is Mithya. Right? Now the thing is, why cannot Satyam and Mithya have a Sambandha? Really speaking. Why is it not possible for a connection to be established between Satyam and Mithya?
Satyam doesn't have any connection. Cannot have.
Oh, that is the definition. Satyam is a Sangha. Okay, but I'm
Yes.
asking, why can that Sangatvam not take place? What is the logical reason?
They are
Then
called
karta. No.
One is
Karta
the nature
function
of
will come.
existence. Sorry.
Sorry, I couldn't hear. One by one, please.
One is the nature of existence and the other is nature of non-existence.
No, you cannot say that body doesn't exist. No, it doesn't exist.
Satyam is without gunas
Uh-huh.
and Nitya only exists when with the three gunas.
Chi.
Sambandha can be established between two separate things.
So they're separate, no? Satyam and Mithya. Are they not?
Satyam cannot be perceived.
Hello, Raviji.
Yeah, Nataraj, you believe.
They are contradictory to each other. If one exists, the other cannot.
They are of two different realities. So that is the answer. That one is Paramarthika Satyam, that is Satyam. Mithya is Vyavaharika Satyam. They belong to two different levels of reality. So it is like trying to use your, HDFC bank checkbook to draw cash out of the bank in your dreams. Out of that, in the dream you might have a different bank. Okay, you can't use your waking state checkbook to withdraw money out of a dreaming state bank. Why? Because one is Satyam, one is Mithya. Both are different orders of reality. The Satyam and Mithya cannot have any sambandha because of the fact that they are different orders of reality. Sambandha can only be between anything, two objects in the same order of reality. And that is why Mithya sambandha is possible, because Mithya has very many objects. Satyam sambandha is not possible because Satyam, there is only one object. You cannot have a sambandha with yourself. Okay. So in the Satyam state, there is no sambandha possible because there is no other entity. In the Mithya state, sambandha is possible, but between Satyam and Mithya, there can be no connection. And yet, the connection is there. That is why he says yogena. That yogena means because of the ignorance of the fact that these are two different realities, I take the Mithya also to be Satyam, and therefore connection is made. And if this connection is made, what happens? Tat tanmaya evasthitaha. So tanmaya is identification. Tat is that identification takes place. With what? You identify the Mithya as the Satyam. That identification of the Atma has taken place with the Mithya. And therefore he says Shuddha Atma. The Shuddha Atma here, Shuddha means Asanga Atma, the unconnectable Atma. Atma which cannot connect itself to anybody. It's not possible for anything to have a connection with the Atma. And therefore you have to read Shuddha Atma as Asanga Atma. And if you understand that Atma is Asanga, then you will understand that the word yogena is mithya yogena, mithya sambandha, mithya connection. The connection is because of ignorance alone. And because of that, Shuddhatma tattanmaya evistitaha, that asanga atma tattanmaya evistitaha, it seems to appear in the form of the upadhi itself. Therefore, I, the Atma, the Shuddhatma, I consider myself as the Sukshma Shariram, or the Sthula Shariram, right? And we must understand from this that the Atma which is completely known as myself, no problem. If I have no idea what the Atma is, therefore, there also no problem. The problem is when there is a partially known Atma. I know, but I don't know that I am Atma or I am Brahman. Like the partially known rope. Right? In absolutely pitch darkness, you don't see the rope, so no fear. In broad daylight, you see the rope clearly, so no fear. It's only in twilight that the rope is, you know something is there, but you don't know it's a rope, and therefore you superimpose a snake onto it. So this is the explanation of the first line. And he gives the example in the second line, Neela Vastradi Yogena Svatiko Yatha. So Neela Vastra is blue cloth. Neela Vastradi Yogena, by association with the blue cloth, Sphatikaha, the crystal, you have to supply. The crystal also appears blue. So when a crystal is placed near a blue cloth, it borrows the color from the blue cloth. And here, in this example, you can apply all the three parts of the definition. The crystal has to be close to the blue cloth. It has to borrow the blue cloth color by reflecting it. And the borrowing is false. How will you know the borrowing is false?
When you remove the,
Jnanam will. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Approximately, no.
when you when they are apart, it's no longer blue.
That's not the reason.
Jnanam
That's a reason, all right, but that's not how you know that it is false.
Jnanam will remove the
Knowledge will
Wrong
remove how?
by understanding that the color is not of the crystal.
Yeah, by understanding that the color doesn't belong to the crystal, it belongs only to the cloth. And you
Blue
can
cloth.
always do an experiment by removing it, right? The problem with saying that it is understood to be mithya because I have to remove the crystal. What is the problem with that statement? If you say that I will understand that it is mithya only when I remove the crystal from the blue cloth's proximity, what is the problem with that statement?
The blue party to the
Upahitam has to
goes
be
away.
separated from the upadhi in that case. Which
Okay.
is,
Okay, Upahitam is being separate from Upadhi. Okay, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that statement, but you have to, you have to give the logical reason why that should not be happening. Anybody? Meda, want to try?
Is it because in the case of Atma and Jagat, that separation is not possible in
That's
the
okay.
physical
That's one
sense?
reason. But by saying that I have to remove the crystal from the proximity of the cloth, you are saying that I can remove.
Oh, yeah, it's
mithya.
it's a product of karma then.
Yes, you are saying that I can remove mithya using karma, right? And that is against the very basis of Vedanta. Mithya cannot be removed by any amount of karma. It can only be removed by jnanam. Therefore, it is possible to say that if I remove the crystal from the proximity of the blue cloth, the crystal color goes away. But the understanding should be that crystal color was never original. It always belongs to the blue cloth. That is the jnanam part of it. Okay. All right. So we look at verse number 16. So vapus, the sa is the joiner. So vapuhu tusha adihi. So vapuhu tusha adihi koshaihi yuktam yuktaya avadhatataha atmanam antaram shuddham vivicyat tundalam yatha. So this tandulam in Sanskrit is rice, chawal. And this is of course not cooked rice. This is rice from the paddy, rather, from the fields. And the tushaha is the husk, the cover. So when I hope all of you all know that rice doesn't come from the paddy field in the form which we see it, right? There's a husk on top, always. A covering is there. So tushaha is the cover, the husk. And then together with the husk, covered by the husk, it's not called rice, it's called paddy. Now the tandulam, the rice, it is of course of use to us for food, but the husk is of no use to us, right? And not only that, the husk is, it's got, if you look at the husk, it has pointed sides. So you cannot eat the rice with the husk because the husk will hurt you. But inside that husk is the food which will satisfy you. So a very philosophical meaning, the husk is taken as a cause of pain because it can hurt you. And inside the dukkha hetuhu, inside the cause for the hurt lies the sukha hetuhu, the cause for satisfaction of your hunger. And what do you do? Avadhatataha. Avadhataha is you take take the pounding, how do you discard the husk? You put it and you pound it. So those of you who are have been village areas, they put in a big vessel all the paddy and then they take a big stick and pound it. The husk comes. Of course, nowadays some villagers are smart. They just spread all the rice on the road and all the trucks passing by, they automatically dehusk it. So there's no problem. They don't have to do any work. But traditionally, you take a big, rod and you pound the rice, which is in a vessel, and you discard the husk and keep the rice. So he says, Shankara is saying that all of us are like this paddy, the rice plus the husk. And therefore, what is he comparing the husk to? The tushaha is what?
The anatma part,
I want
Sharira.
specific answers.
Shariratrayam,
Sariratrayam is one, yes, or you can call it Panchakosha also.
Kosha.
So the tushaha is the Panchakosha or Shariratrayam. Either of them, they're the same basically, but either of them have got the same Shadvikara, and hence, like the husk, they are the cause of pain. And therefore, just like the husk, you should reject it. The tusha has to be rejected. Now here comes the difference. What is the difference between rejecting the husk and rejecting the Panchakoshas? Is there any difference in the separation?
That when we reject the husk, we like throw it away, but when we reject the Panchakoshas and Sariratrayam, we keep them, but we just intellectually don't identify with them anymore. So they are still with us, but we don't literally throw them away.
Excellent, Jun, excellent. So the husk is rejected because the rice and the husk both belong to Vyavaharika Satyam. What is necessary for their rejection? When both belong to the same level of reality, what do you need to do to separate them?
Karma.
Karma.
You need karma, physical activity by way of pounding of the rice. But in the case of Atma and Anatma, they belong to two different levels of reality. In the case of the rice and the husk, the Tandulam and the Tusha, the connection, the Samyogam is real as it belongs, because both belong to the same order of reality. Therefore, it's a real connection. Therefore, for a real connection to reject it, you need karma, physical activity. But in the case of Atma and Anatma, the Samyogam, the connection is basically based on Ajnanam, on ignorance alone. And therefore, pounding you still have to do, but the pounding is in the form of mental activity alone, in the form of thinking alone, in the form of discretion alone. Okay. So the one word which I have not explained is Vapuhu. So Vapuhu is the bodies, another name for body. So you are saying that this body, Yuktam, associated with the Panchakosha. And what is inside? Atmanam Antaram Shuddham. So Antaram, inside the Vapuhu, inside the body, is what? Shuddham Atmanam. The pure Atmanam is inside. What should you do? Vivichyat. One should separate. How? Yuktya avadhatataha. So Yuktya is logic. Yukti is logic. Yuktya avadhataha means by pounding in the form of logical thinking. Pounding in the form of Nitya, Anitya, Vivekaha. Then only the difference can be seen. Then only we will understand that the Anatma and Atma can be separated, but no karma is needed. Okay. And the last verse for today. Sada sarvagataha api atma na sarvatra avabhasate buddhevava abhaset avabhaset swacheshu pratibimbavat. So earlier we said antaram. Where did we say antaram? We said the antaram shuddham atman. The atma inside. And this could be, there could be a confusion here. Just atma is everywhere. How can you say it's inside? So he says, he's giving a clarification over here. He says to remove the external covering, you have to remove the covering, the husk, to find the atma inside. And if you think of that, one might try to see deep within oneself and meditate upon oneself inside. And what will happen? You are expecting to see an object called the Atma, and nothing will happen. So here antaram has to be understood as in the form of the substratum alone. Antaram is not inside. It means adhishthana rupam, in the form of substratum. And that is why Atma has a name, Sarvantaraha, that which is inside everywhere, that which is the very foundation. Therefore he says, Sada Sarvagataha api Atma. Sada Sarvagataha. Sada at all times, Sarvagataha, Atma is all pervading. So Sada Sarvagata api Atma. That Atma is indeed all pervading at all times, both in terms of space and in terms of time. The Atma is always there. And yet he says, Na sarvatra avabhasate. It is not seen as manifest everywhere. Why? Why is it not seen as manifest? So, na sarvatra avabhasate means OC. That OC is there everywhere. So, sada sarvagata api OC. Original consciousness is there everywhere. And yet, it is not seen manifested everywhere. Why? Because it requires a RM, a medium for the reflection. Okay. So, one has to be careful here. It requires medium for reflection, not for existence. It is always existing. It is always conscious. But the point is, to be able to recognize it, we have to have a medium. And what is the medium? Buddhau eva avabhasate. It shines in the buddhi only. Why only buddhi? Because the buddhi is predominantly sattva-guna, free of disturbances, like a clean mirror. And therefore it is able to reflect very subtle OC. And because it's a clean mirror, relatively clean, we are not talking about chitta shuddhi. We are talking about subtlety of the 17 organs. Among them, the buddhi is the most subtle. And therefore it reflects as a sattva guna pradhana, predominantly sattva guna object, anatma. It reflects the OC. It reflects it well. Like what? He gives an example. Swacheshu, in a very clean surface, pratibimbavat. Any reflection is seen clearly in a clean surface. Okay, so with this we'll stop for today. Any questions? As you can see, it is the same ideas of Tattvabodha, but a slightly more comprehensive view. No questions at all? Or they are just bubbling up. So I'll wait for some time for the questions to come up. You know, they are sort of being manufactured right now. No?
Acharya will have to go over it again once the questions come. We'll be able to post it on the group.
Okay.
Only one thing I wanted to ask. So this is all about the superimpositions and the upadhis that Shankaracharya was talking in the last few.
Whenever you say upadhi, you are talking anatma. There are only two things
So it is the
always in Shastram. One is atma, one is anatma.
So,
different names are given. So everything upadhi you are saying, it is basically only anatma. Upahitam you are saying, it is basically only atma.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll stop for today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Shivaya.
Thank you very much.